Welcome to another episode here. This is Jamie Bolding, going to do our Walk the Talk episode, our green initiatives here, and we're down here looking at cabin 15 today, which is one of our newest cabins. It shows a lot of the tried and true green techniques we've managed to do in this cabin that have ended up being very economical to actually produce, and it's worked out very well. So I look forward to showing you around cabin 15. This is a cabin we're very proud of, and I thought I'd just show you some of the techniques around in this cabin. This cabin is very, very well insulated. It starts with having insulated concrete form in the basement and the bottom floor. So that's a 12-inch thick wall, which has 6 inches of foam and concrete in the center. It has a great thermal mass and a great insulation ability, so it really works well in a building that's dug into a bank like this one, so it's a little bit of earth home heating, very, very efficient that way. Traditional framing, very well insulated right up to through the ceiling. Naturally, we cut these large beams here on site, but we're very careful, and the beams don't actually go external to the wall and the sidewall, so they're very tight, not a lot of air leakage, but it carries a large roof. And the roof is a big factor to a design of an efficient building too in our country here. We have a large overhang on this roof, which gives you great coverage, which is nice in winter for snow and rain, but in the summertime, it gives you shading when the sun is too hot. It gives you the natural awning effect, having the roof overhang to deal with. But in the winter, when the sun gets lower, with the orientation of the cabin, you get a lot more sun that warms the cabin as well. So the roof is a big factor as well. You see we actually have wood heat as well. Wood heat is certainly, we consider carbon neutral here. We can talk more about that. But our guests love to actually light the wood stove. It makes for the cabin very cozy. In-floor heating as well as wood heat. It just makes it very special for sure. Okay, so in this room, we're having a look at the furnace room and the utilities room in this room, because I think this cabin, we've done a number of upgrades in different cabins, and this is one we found just very clean and simple. And I think people could do this in their own place if they're building a cabin or a house. That the way we've done the heat and hot water in this building is quite simple. So the cabin actually has heating in the floor, so the pipe runs coils through the floor. So we have to heat that water that goes into the floor, and also the water for the washing the dishes and having a shower. So we actually have 2 hot water tanks here, and the big tank is actually a dual purpose tank. It actually has a coil in it that heats the floor. So the water is pumped by this little pump, it circulates through the coil in the hot water in the tank, and then out around in the floor and heats the cabin. But what's interesting in this is we bought this dual tank, is instead of using propane, which is the way these things come to do all the work, we actually put an electric tank right adjacent to the propane tank, and we hook up the bottom of the tank and the top, and we set the electric tank hotter than the gas tank. So say the electric tank's at 55 Celsius, the propane tank's at 45 Celsius. What we find is they never fires. This thing doesn't burn any propane, because unless you have the showers running very continuously, the electric tank just heats the water itself, circulates into the slightly colder tank and sucks along the bottom and back in, and you actually save burning the more expensive propane fuel. It does give you a dual system, so it handles peak loads. If we have a power problem, we can actually reduce the power load by reducing the electric, but we found this is very efficient because it uses very little propane to heat and hot water the whole building, but has the expandability, I think, in the capital cost relative to overall heating, hot water and floor heating, compared to most people's homes. It's very cheap. It's just a very simple system.